Tamara Loftus, great to get you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming along. What I thought we'd do is cover your background in the UK, estate agency, your real estate work in Dubai, your recruitment in Dubai, and then Women Who Thrive, because I know you're an ambassador for that organisation.
I am indeed, yes. Quite a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Okay, good. So just tell us about your estate agency background in the UK.
Yeah, perfect. So I have 8 years under the belt in real estate back in the UK, or estate agency as they like to call it there. Don't really know how I got into that. It's sort of...
I don't think anybody plans it too much, do they? Just sort of stumble across it.
Yeah, it comes across really glamorous. You think, oh, I'm going to get dressed up really nice and show people around fancy houses. But it's not all that easy, fun and games. So, yeah, I started working, well, it's 9 years ago now. So I did 8 years in the UK. And kind of got to a point where I was like, what is next? Obviously, COVID happened, which was really a confusing time.
Yeah.
But obviously made me realise that there's a lot more to life than where I was living. Because I'm not from the hugest place back in the UK.
Gloucester, isn't it?
Gloucester, yes. Yeah. So small, love it. But know everybody pretty much. So it was like, what's next on the horizon? I'd never travelled. I was never that person that got to 18 and decided they wanted to get on a plane and do backpacking. I thought I was a bit too bougie for that, if I'm honest. I'm not. But yeah, I didn't do that. And I was like, there has to be more out there. And luckily, my dad was really supportive. And yeah, I was like, let's get out of here. I wanted to get to America, really.
Yeah.
In all honesty, but here we are. Ended up in Dubai.
Well, Dubai's the new America, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I did a year in real estate, just over. So sales, leasing, and short term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And which companies were you with?
So I started at Allsop and Allsop.
And how did you get that job? Was that from the UK?
Yes, that was from the UK. So I'd already signed my contract before I flew over through LinkedIn. And then, came over knowing I was coming to do that. I'd known for a little while. I took quite a few months, like 3 months or so, to pack up and say my goodbyes and be like, I'm actually doing this now.
It's a big thing, isn't it?
It's huge, especially alone. I knew 2 people out here. And one of them I still haven't seen since I've been here 2 years later.
Really?
Yeah.
But they're there if you...
Yeah.
If
And whenever I need advice, it's nice to have that. But yeah, navigating it was interesting because I'd never left where I was. And it's crazy because you're this big independent person that, has a whole future ahead and you're like, I can do anything. And you get on the plane. I felt like I was going on holiday, so I didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, okay, I need to check out this hotel because it's costing me a lot of money and I need that money. And you're here alone and just navigating a whole new life, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then in all honesty, I was ready to go home. Something happened at home with family and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Was ready to hand my notice in and go home. I had 2 weeks holiday and my current position kind of was put in front of me and I said yes, and here we are.
Right.
So it was almost like a sign.
So that thought of maybe going back was after you worked, because you worked for a couple of agents here.
Yes.
So you were at Allsop and Allsop.
Allsop. And then I was at a small company called Home Bond, which wasn't really in the plan. I just knew somebody there and I was like, I'm just hanging around every day doing nothing anyway. And then, but I loved it there. Loved the people, met some amazing people. And then I was working for a short-term company, Kennedy Towers.
Yeah, and then you moved into this, well, you had the little wobble.
Yeah, had the little wobble.
And I think for anybody that's listening that's thinking about coming over to Dubai or from anywhere in the world, could be the UK, could be anywhere else, it's an important lesson, isn't it?
Yes.
That you probably will have a wobble at some stage in the first couple of years. It might be the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But if you stick it out as you've done,
then the opportunities come.
Yeah.
And do you know, I've spoken to, obviously in my job now, I still speak to a lot of people within real estate who say to me, how did you know to keep going? Like, what stopped you from giving up? And I just said, there's always signs.
Yeah.
Lots of people think that's a bit woo-woo, but there is a sign, you know. When I was first planning on getting on a plane and going home, my landlord said to me, we haven't given me 30 days notice, so you can't go, you owe rent next week. And
Right.
that was my plane home ticket. And I was like,
Really?
okay, so it looks like we're staying, and made it work. And the same again this time. I was going to go home, and I met who I work for now, and it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's DSR.
So DSR Group. So that's Dubai Sales Recruitment.
And you focus with real estate agents on that side of things?
Yes, pretty much. So my main focus is real estate recruitment, but we do generally sales, because if you're in real estate or any sales, it all kind of crosses each other, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
sure.
yeah, but a lot of my focus has been on real estate because it's what I know best.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a combination, because you're clearly a people person.
Yeah.
So getting out there, doing the recruitment, it suits your personality, doesn't it?
I love talking to people. I'm a bit of a chatty Cathy. Love meeting new people.
Well, we met a few weeks ago, didn't we, in the coffee shop, and that was great. Just chatted away.
Yeah, and obviously we have background from being from the same place at home, and
we work for the same real estate company,
Andrews. In the UK.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have those familiarities as well, though, because that almost gets lost, and then you meet people that remind you of home, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And obviously for some people, there's obviously more of a majority of some people, like there's quite a lot of people from Liverpool that live here, so there's more home for them here. But for smaller places like Gloucester, there isn't many of us at all.
Yeah, I think I met one girl from Gloucestershire many years ago. In fact, that was when I was here the first time, and that's it.
Yeah.
We were discussing one guy earlier, weren't we? But he's not really based out here.
No.
So our part of the world is very much underrepresented, isn't it?
No one ever knows where it is either.
No. I say close to Wales, or between Birmingham and Bristol, somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, basically.
But cool. So do you want to talk a bit more about DSR and recruitment?
Yes. So I started working for DSR Group probably, gosh, time flies when you're having fun. It's been about 6-7 months now. We've grown very quickly, which has been great. And we are affiliated with other companies as well. So that just helps with our network. Also means that I'm part of events as well, which is really exciting. But yeah, day-to-day basis, I'm dealing with real estate agents, pretty much moving people around, helping people relocate from other countries, not necessarily just the UK. I think there's a perception that it's everybody from the UK, but I speak to a lot of people across Europe that also want to move here. And it's exciting, you know. I'm not a real estate agent anymore, but I still get to talk about it every day.
You still talk shop up to a point.
Yeah. And it's nice to share that knowledge, because you don't realise how knowledgeable you are until you reflect on it. And like 9 years overall is quite a long time, a lot of experience. But it's really exciting. And as I said, I love speaking to people and speaking to my LinkedIn community every day.
Yeah. No, you're very good on LinkedIn. I mean, you post regularly, and they're good posts. But this is the thing I feel with Dubai, whether you're working in real estate, recruitment, as you are, virtually everybody's upbeat. We're excited about what we do, aren't we? And you just don't. I know you haven't been back to the UK since you came out here, but I have, and it's a lot more downbeat. You know, it's just not the same back there. Obviously, some people are doing well, but nearly everybody in our position is thriving out here. If you can get past that period, which you did, then it
that
works.
First year.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit more about women who thrive? Because you've recently become an ambassador.
I have. So Women Who Thrive is a community for females, of course, which for me, I'm quite passionate about. I've worked for people that told me that women aren't supposed to be anything more than in the kitchen.
Yeah, right.
Which is not nice to hear. So it fuels us.
There was
even
somebody
more.
at Andrews, wasn't there, that you maybe clashed, but we won't name a name. But
No, yeah. But here we are today. And I love the community. It's a lot of like-minded women that are new to, well, some are new. Some have been here for 10 years. Some have been here for 20 years. Some have just started a business. Some are looking for work. Some have an activity or a hobby, passion that they want to talk about. And they just want to meet like-minded people.
yeah, and does it give them more confidence being around other women in a similar position?
Definitely, yes, because it's that talking about those experiences and that actually you can do it and you can get there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy when people talk to me about like changing roles. Like, I changed roles. Obviously, I was a real estate agent. Now I'm in recruitment. People say, well, were you not scared to make the change? Well, yeah, but we don't get good things out of comfort zones. And they say, well, I don't know what I would do. And I say, think about what you're passionate about. You know, I'm still passionate about real estate, but I've taken it down another route. And it was always something I wanted to do, definitely, from day one. Before I even got employed by my first company, I said, would I ever be able to move into sort of training and recruitment, etc.? And they said, yeah, definitely at some point. I'm always thinking far too far ahead sometimes, I guess, but you need a plan.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like I did a workshop with Women Who Thrive, helping females sort out their CV and their goals moving forward. And I said, if you want to do something, just base it on what you're passionate about or you have a hobby for. You know, if you like baking cakes, why don't you bake some cakes, take them into your current workplace, let people try them. And it kind of escalates from there. And I think we've all seen that throughout lockdown as well, is that everybody's passion suddenly became a light and they're now doing that potentially as business. It's having some people around you saying you can do this, because sometimes it's easy to get into that mind frame of, no, I can't do this. And
Negative mindset.
yeah, and I'm safe and why should I change? Which I hate to talk about the UK because it's home and I love it, and that will never change. But I do think it's very much that one mind frame of you get a job and you're safe. That pays the bills. Why would you give that up? Why would you change your career? Why would you put yourself at such a risk? And that's what I love talking to candidates about, is over here, you can take that risk and complete strangers will be your cheerleaders. And that's what I love about Women Who Thrive, is everybody is cheerleading everybody.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about
providing advice.
And about empowering each other.
Yeah.
To say, you know, women have got to be behind
I was
each other.
listening to Akika Pave's podcast recently, and she was saying exactly that. And she's somebody that's done incredibly well in real estate up in Abu Dhabi. And, you know, she's made it work because she's good. My boss is Dunia Fade, and she was chosen for the role to head up EXP in Dubai because she is very good.
Yeah.
And she is the best at what she does. The best agent that we have is Denise Williams in the company in terms of figures, and people are buying from her not because she's female, but because she's the best salesperson.
Yeah.
And I just feel that given the opportunity, women can do that. Whereas possibly in the UK, there's this sort of pressure with gender equality, with getting women into roles when they're not necessarily the best at it. But I think it works a lot better over here, where they're naturally going into positions and succeeding in many cases.
Yeah, and being given that opportunity to get into that position, I think is so difficult back in the UK. It's almost a fight for what we can do, and then just get in that position because they have to show that we are equal. But here, I guess, the opportunities are open for everything and everybody, and that's amazing. And obviously I look up to females that are in business. One of my bosses is female and she owns multiple companies. And for me,
Brilliant.
I see that every day in the office, and that's where I'm striving to be.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever know if Dubai would offer me that opportunity, and it definitely is. And now I see so many different holes where I'm like, right, I could move into that and I could do this, and obviously still within DSR, but All of my bosses,
You've got to
all
say
three
that
of them,
what they might be watching.
just in case they're watching. No, all three of them fully support me in everything or anything that I would want to do. And if it adds value to us as a company, then why would we not do it? There's a lot that's still to come. So we're still very new.
Well, you were saying earlier you want to make DSR the number one recruitment agency in Dubai.
Exactly. That is my aim. I want to be the number one
And
recruiter.
I can see it in your sort of whole persona, the way you are. You believe it will happen and it's got a good chance.
Yeah. If you believe, you'll get there. And it's about taking all the right steps, which I'm doing, and, have the right support behind me, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. But I think another point is... the Dubai economy is thriving at the moment. We can just see it. We go out there. And if you compare it with the UK or many countries throughout the world, the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, maybe as a continent, they're struggling. And where you've got somewhere like Dubai, all boats lift with a rising tide. And so that just lifts everyone. And
it's exciting because it's there, and it's like, the average of the new developments is like one a day now. And it's people almost don't believe me when I say that. And people love to say, so when's it going to crash? Do you think it's going to keep going?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not, it might level itself back out, but it's not crashing.
I think if Dubai crashes or if Dubai takes a dip, the rest of the world, certainly within the real estate sector, will fall a lot further.
Yeah.
So it's the best positioned place that I can think of at the moment in terms of the overall economy, and certainly real estate, and the knock-on effect is going to be recruitment as well, isn't it?
And obviously, if you compare it back to the UK at the time, obviously we had an amazing high because after lockdown, we had the stamp duty break, and I was like, I couldn't even look up. I was so busy. And the money that people were saving, it was crazy. But I knew in my mind, I'm like, this is going to come to an end and this is going to go very badly.
Yeah.
And I was almost waiting to get everything over the line that I promised to get over the line and be like, I need to get out now before it swallows me with it.
Well, all credit to you for spotting that, because it was basically just bringing transactions forward, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be paid back at some point, unfortunately. But everyone else is ready. If you're ready to get out, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, any sort of further advice there for anybody that's thinking about either going into recruitment or into real estate in the UK?
I'd say do it. What I would say about recruitment is there is this perception that it's easy, and it's not. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. Real estate obviously is equally hard work, but you do reap the benefits, and it's worth being over here. Everybody talks about the obvious, the sun, tax-free, but just as we've been saying, the opportunities as well. If I'd have still been at home, would I have been an ambassador for a networking with women who thrive?
Less likely,
Less than likely, yeah. That wouldn't have come. I'd have been at work thinking, gosh, I'm going to have to prepare myself to potentially lose my job because the market's going sideways.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's just like opportunities galore. And I think that if it's in your mind, definitely do your research and reach out to somebody and come here, basically.
Yeah.
I never overplay it when I speak to people. I do talk about the downside as well as the upside. And I've been there and I've done it, and I moved here on my own. And I rode that roller coaster, and it's not easy, as plenty of people who've done it alone as well will agree, but it's definitely been worth it.
Yeah. And just before we sort of wrap up, can you say anything else about the downsides, what people need to think about in terms of sort of, I guess they need to bring a certain amount of money over here, have certain savings?
Yes.
If you're going into real estate, what would you recommend?
It's funny, actually, because I'm planning to touch on this on LinkedIn this week, because I spoke to somebody last week and they'd just done no research whatsoever. And to be fair, I hadn't done a huge amount of research before I made this decision, but I knew what I was getting into, and I did know the downs. And lots of people just assume, you watch these TV programs and people move to Spain and they're living their life. Dubai is not like that. Dubai is expensive. You do need to have savings and be prepared to, if you're going into real estate, to go without that money.
How much do you think people should, in either dollars or pounds, if they come in from the UK?
In pounds, the very, very minimum, at least 10K.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Possibly more.
I would say you need more, but the very, very minimum.
10K.
If you're happy to live minimalistically.
So that's about $13,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that might get you through. But yeah, you need savings. You need to do your research. You will have to work hard. And it's not just the work hard, the graft. It is you're on the phones and you've got to be so resilient about a lot of things, not just in real estate. You have to be resilient with a lot of things out here because you've got to navigate a whole new life.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the UK, you just wake up and you know how to do everything.
Yeah.
No one teaches you that, but you know how to do it. Here, it's like you come here and you're like, okay, I need a car and I need a bank account and a visa. How
but
do
you're
I
really
do all
pushing
that?
yourself. You're testing yourself, aren't
Yeah.
you? And for me personally, it's challenging yourself. It's a good thing to do.
I've definitely learned a lot about myself. And it's funny because sort of a year in, I was like, I don't think I've learned anything new about myself. And then I sat down and I really reflected and I was like, I've learned a lot. I've really learned a lot, especially when you're at home and you're in a comfort zone. Yes, you push yourself out your comfort zone doing your job every day because in sales you have to. It's just the same at home. But are you really thinking about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone? And here it's like, it's turning up to networking. Yes, I'm part of the Women Who Thrive community, but, I turn up at events and there's people there that I still haven't met, or there's new members. So I'm still pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I went to a painting workshop the other week.
Oh, wow.
I haven't done art since school. Can you believe GCSE art? That was just for the DOS I was hoping for. But yeah, I'm not a painter, but actually thoroughly enjoyed it and learnt a bit about different techniques. So who knows? Could be the next Van Gogh.
Put yourself out there and network, didn't you? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what you've got to be not comfortable doing, because it's never comfortable, is it really? But out here, you've got to make new friends. You've got to network. Like, your network is everything out here.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice, Tamara.
Yeah.
And then for people that want to get in contact with you, it's LinkedIn the best? Any other social?
LinkedIn is absolutely the best to reach out to me. Or you can provide my details.
Yeah, I'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was great. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.